I wanted to talk about some of the additional details for the Grandmaster set. Now make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So a couple of interesting things to touch on here. There were 18 cards announced within this set to receive Grandmaster treatment. Now, if you remember, there's more than 18 Grandmaster cards that are going to be coming down the spotlight here. So the question becomes, where did the rest of them go? So this is where the TCG actually, I think, did what the OCG did, and they made the set into two different sets. Now, with no Megatins this year, they've basically opened up the door to do whatever they want with the reprint equity from within that set, which is actually kind of a saving grace, honestly. So that means that not only are you going to have to deal with Magnificent Monsters. We're going to call the other set Magnificent Challengers, because I really like that, because they are the rivals of the main characters, and it does kind of create a nice little feel to, you know, what we're expecting. So, expected within that other set, I'm very curious to know what other goodies that they're going to have built into that, because this set took the 6 monsters from last year's specialty product and basically built them in to this. Now, depending on when that second set is going to release, I am going to assume that the back half of this year, after the next upcoming set, I would expect that to be a November release. I don't think the Konami wants to drop the Magnificent Monsters, wants to drop a core set in October, and then drop, you know, Magnificent Challengers within that same month. I think that they would want to push it into November, which we do have an upcoming deck build pack, which the deck build pack could just slot into December. You wash your hands with it, and you now have the rest of the release schedule for the year, and everything kind of just lines back up. And then the OCG will probably do Terminal World. They'll probably do, you know, Premium Pack like usual, and then we'll convert those into further later sets beyond, you know, the other half of the year is kind of what I'm expecting. But like I said, my question is, though, what are the other specialty things going to be built into the challengers? And even if that's the case, when you're looking at the already existing version of this set, they did mention that there are going to be 2 other additional cards. Okay, so there are 2 other overframes, which most of us are speculating are going to be the Linkage and the Widow Anchor, which these are going to be cards that are coming from the special set in Japan, which slotting these into a core set instead of being a guaranteed product is a little bit annoying, especially if these are going to be available in other rarities, like if they're going to be Ultra and Starlight configurations. To get, you just added another $1,500 to the existing Sky Striker deck, and that's very, very, very annoying. But that also means that we're not going to get the dual set options for Sky Striker, which is kind of annoying. But I guess if you want that product, you have to go on over to the TCG or to the OCG and pick that up. So I think that that's the question of what the 2 missing overframes are, unless Konami goes, hey, we're gonna give the TCG some TCG exclusive overframes here. Now, that is a possibility. You got to remember, with the eradication of tins this year, we lost 3 TCG exclusive slots. Though I think that those TCG exclusive slots got turned on over into the Legendary Arc V decks instead. So it kind of transitions to the exact same way. So it still works out decently well. It's just when you're looking at, you know, transitory options here, you know, unless you're going to do something like Habagiri, which I've heard a lot of people in the TCG today going, yeah, I can't wait for, you know, all roads lead to Habagiri. It would be cool to see Habagiri get an overframe for us. As much as, like, we're sick of this card and like all of the craziness, it would truly be the embodiment of the TCG to print this card in an overframe fashion and actually hand it to us. And I wouldn't necessarily hate that. It's just with what is available on the table right now, the linkage and the widow anchor, I think, are going to be what is going to be coming in this set. Now, based on the current knowledge that we have and how they have split this particular set more down the way here, these will be the two best products of the year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Also, in the background of this, I don't know if you've noticed, but I guess this is appropriate to talk about here. You might have noticed a lot of the older products from like these $30 boxes over time here in the background. You might have noticed that these boxes just disappeared. Evidently, there's been a lot of talk about this, that, you know, some distro deal went through with 7 figures and wiped all of these $25 to $30 boxes on the distro level out of existence. Makes sense when there's no tin product this year. Konami, inadvertently, by creating this product and gutting tins, created way more reprint equity than we have had in ages. They've also reinforced player confidence and consumer confidence again by making those core sets. You know, everything has been printed. Those have now kind of recreated some value in the game. This is something that is very important. Player and consumer confidence, actually consumer confidence, has to be restored in this game. You know, and I'm glad to see that. I'm glad that, you know, we're getting that back. So, TLDR on everything here. Linkage and Widow Anchor will probably be the other two overframes in the set, unless they're going to TCGify this and create two overframes for us exclusively. Habagiri would be a funny example, but that's a very TCG thing. We do know that based on the cover of this pack, there is a second set that will come into existence for this. A few people have talked about that this could be a March-April set, or this could just be a November set, October set for us. Either way, there is the other half of this set does in fact exist, and I think they will have to, you know, produce that. If they have, obviously they would have announced there would have been more Grandmaster rares in this set. Obviously, if they didn't split these apart, Grandmaster rares would be a lot more common. You know, you'd be doubling the pool of Grandmaster rares, and Konami's not going to do that. They're not stupid. They know exactly what this player base is going to go through here in order to try to pull these cards. And obviously, with the split the way it is, there is going to be some hardships trying to pull these. I do think the European versions are going to be a lot harder to pull than the America versions, but that's a story for later on. I'm also very curious to know what other cards are going to be built in to the second set of this, because there's only the 6 extra cards like the Dark Strike Fighter and things that they could really slot in from the special set last year, which kind of creates a barren placing for the second set, especially since they use those as an advertising cost for this one. So, with everything being said and done here, I am glad that product is changing here. I'm glad to see that Konami's getting their shit together. I'm glad to see that, you know, we're patching things up in a positive direction here, and value and consumer desire is being restored. You're doing very, very good, Konami, right now. And that's high praise from me, because you're going back, you're fixing older sets. You're going back, and also you're fixing older sets by moving forward, which is a crazy marketing ploy that I hadn't really expected. And, you know, if you've not picked up something that you want on the secondary market right now, I think when the realization and the shock factor goes through that tins have been eradicated, some shit is going to go crazy over the next couple of days. So don't be surprised if suddenly a card just 2x's in price because of availability. It's going to happen. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back later today, guys. Peace. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.